thoughts after Bradford returned to winning ways quite emphatically in a very dominant 48-24 win over Featherstone this afternoon?
I was always confident we would return to the winner's circle, but there's certain things that you have to do, and I still think there are things we've got to do. We probably left some points out there as well. I think we showed a side to us that we want to play that way. You know, we moved the ball, we shifted the ball, we exposed Featherstone in a number of areas, and it's nice when that happens. So we're really pleased. We're really pleased with what we've done, and getting back in the winning end circle is for a group of winners is important.
Looks like there's a happy dressing room.
Yeah, and why wouldn't there be? You know, a lot of people say things about the team when you've lost 3 on the bounce that are not true and are not accurate. And the only way you can answer that, the team and anybody involved, is to do some of the things that we did today. I thought we were excellent in parts.
Do you feel you've answered any critics this afternoon with that performance?
No, you never answer critics. Just critics get up in the morning and are negative about what they're doing. We have to stay positive. We know what we've got team-wise. We still don't think we're there. We'll need to improve next week in a quarter-final of a cup. But I think we showed that, you know, when we do get it right, we're pretty difficult to handle.
You mentioned pre-match about the importance of playing as a team, as a collective, rather than individuals. Fair to say, for the full 80 minutes, you've seen that a very, very good team performance.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I thought we were really good in parts, and then we did a couple of things that made the game a whole lot more anxious than it should have been. And so we have to look at that. It won't be fair on ourselves. You know, we've taken a step back towards where we want to be, but I think there's still some more in this team.
You started strong with that early try, and then I think it was Franklin Pelly who made the break, James Meadows, Kieran Gill. That probably wasn't in the game plan, Brian, but did those kind of instances kind of help you refocus that even though we are making these breaks on Featherstone's left edge, will it be a bit smarter?
It absolutely was in the game plan. Well, probably the bits that weren't in the game plan is that Franklin throws it on the floor or throws it forward, and Gilly kicks it to nobody, and Luke Cooley passes to nobody, and Jake Ockham borders. So it's really hard to be critical, and I'm not being critical. We played the way that we wanted to play, and I think it's the best way for us to play. I still think there's bits that we need to add on to it, because I think if you look at the results this weekend, it's a tough competition, the Championship, and nobody's going to go away. And I did say, and you'll bear with me, around 8 or 9 we'll probably have a better reflection of what we want to know and how we want to do it.
How important was that try to Kieran Gill just before half time? 16-6, suddenly 22-6, you've got the breathing space, and I dare say it gives you that confidence boost.
Well, it's only important because of the way we kind of bombed some other opportunities. I think the dominance of ourselves in the first half wouldn't have been a reflection of 16-6, 22-6 was a better reflection. I have to take my hat off to, we've had the spine in this week, and I thought Meadows and Keys looked like really, really competent set of halves today. Luke Cooley chiming in and pinching. I thought Jordan Lilly had his most impactful spell this year, so they've responded. A few of the people that need to respond in the right way in what we're doing, but it was really nice talking about bombed opportunities rather than not creating any opportunities. So that was a real pleasure for us.
You have scored 9 tries. Anyone who's been here, Brian, it could have quite easily been 12 or 13.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And the fact, Brian, that you've seen the spine use those elements, that cohesion, that connectability. How pleasing are you, Brian? You've always firmly backed them and said this will take time, you know. Yet there has been that disruption to the spine with Tom Holmes, and unfortunately his injury. This was only really the third game of Hooley, Meadows and Keys.
Yeah, and the 9s deserve a mention. I thought they were more direct and made better decisions today. But yeah, it's something that we're working on, and cohesion takes a little bit of time. It's repetition, and we don't get a lot of repetition together, so when we do, it's important that we make it work and that it's impactful. I think we saw today that they listened, they did the things they were asked of, and they executed some plays, and we haven't been executing plays. So clearly, when you're a nut job like me, you want things to be better and little other bits and bobs to be better. But I'm thrilled for the players. I'm thrilled for certain players that were being questioned, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. You know, we need to put competent performances right throughout the 80 minutes, and I thought we shared it out in the first and second half this week, certainly offensively. And we'll look at the other bits and review tomorrow, but don't mistake myself. I'm absolutely thrilled with what we've dished up.
Start of the second half, come up with the error, concede the try, but then almost immediately, Brian, you find that refocus and you go back to back against Featherstone. How important was that? Because in the past we might have seen Bradford, not cave in, but perhaps go into the shell, and Featherstone wrestle some of that ascendancy momentum, but it certainly wasn't allowed to happen this afternoon, which I see as a growth, a learning curve.
It is a growth, and it is from the players. I think they understood what they were sometimes previous games doing to themselves, and we've taken a big stride today. We've still some lessons to learn on game management and how we go about our business. No disrespect to Featherstone, they had 5 or 6 players out of their team, so that's not their best, but they had a dig, and that's what we expected. So playing without halves is very difficult. So we're pleased with what we've done. I think we've taken a couple of steps on the positivity ladder, but we need to take a few more.
Jaden Ockenbaugh, I think he disrupted 3 or 4 almost certain Featherstone tries. I'm guessing you can forgive him for not taking it in cleanly, Brian, because he stopped the try.
Oh no criticisms there. We were in the ditch that people talk about, and he stopped probably 2-3 certain tries there.
Just on the goal kicking, Luke Cooley, is it his to lose now?
Well, he kicked some really nice kicks today, didn't he? And he had some decent touch finders. Which all of these things help up. They're the small things that we spoke about as a group last week, and they'll be reinforced again this week. We can look forward now to the Sheffield game with a lot more enthusiasm and energy about the place.
I know you've given him a little bit of praise already, but when Jordan Lilly come on for Mitch Suter and you're seeing him kicking out of acting half and 40-20, and then that kick in the second half, that was almost like a 30-4 turning Featherstone around. How much of an advantage is it having that ability, off the bench to come on? Featherstone no halves. You've got 3 or 4 in the team.
Yeah, Mitch as well can do that. So it's important that we recognise when to do it. I thought the pleasing thing about Jordan's game today is he made a lot of good decisions for the team. He poked his nose through right at the right times when we moved him around a bit, and we wanted to go back through the middle, and he did that. And his kicks were brilliant. So I told Jordan after the game, I think it's his best contribution this year, and the kind of thing that we wanted him to do. So I'm pleased for him.
Frank Pelly come back from his HIA. Everything all good with Frank Pelly?
Yeah, come through. Yeah, we wouldn't have played him if he wasn't.
I mean, he's come through.
Oh
okay.
yeah, he's through. Yeah.
Just a little bit on Ebensker, 50-50 going into this one. I'm guessing
maybe 60-40 against. Eben needs to have a couple of decent training sessions to be in the reckoning for next week. We certainly won't take a risk on it.
What's your message to players like Emmanuel Wade, Bailey Lou, who were in the 21 but not quite, getting the nod?
Well, they've got the hardest job, as I said at the start of the year. They have to be enthusiastic. They have to show reasons why they should be in the team ahead of somebody else. We're clearly looking at that every week. We make that decision, which is a tough one. But I have to say that they're all exemplary. Of the 3 blokes you mentioned have been outstanding, and they will get an opportunity. Where that will be, then, and I've said we start the year, it's up for them to take that.
Just finally from me, because I know Nathan wants to ask a couple.
Yeah.
It's a win, Brian. What does this do for you, for the club to return to winning ways in such a sort of, emphatic, sweeping statement?
Well, winning and losing are both imposters, mate. I know, they veil themselves in emotions and feelings that are probably not there, and so we've spoken about what we needed to do. The players have responded and done what we needed to do to rectify an attacking issue, basically, against Barrow, and I think they've done that in spades. We'll continue to keep stitching things together, and we'll continue to keep trying to get that complete performance, but let's hope that comes at the back of the year in the final.
Yeah, Brian, you mentioned to us at Tongue that you were